We should talk.
I think we've talked enough already.
We should talk. I think we should get to know each other intimately.
You okay in there, Miss Freud?
Oh, it's Freud?
Yes,
not
I'm
Freud.
fine. We just got a little loud.
Such a
Gonna
good liar.
Cut
Now,
your hair.
you're going to tell me where you forwarded that email about Helene, or I swear to God, I will leave you with a face no man will ever look at again.
No, please. I'll tell you anything.
What? Is that ableist?
Douglas
was that
Wilde
the right
Carter.
word?
He's behind the kidnapping. He promised Markham's girlfriend, Dominique, that she'd marry Markham if she spied for him. Dominique saw the email you sent to Markham about Helene. She forwarded it to Carter. He has to be behind the kidnapping and those attempts on Walker's life.
Carter. He's
Carter?
a powerful man. But how does he know about Mobius? And why would he want to prevent Markham from becoming president?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. You must have a file on him.
Yes.
Does he have an historic match?
Not that we've discerned. Of course, my statisticians aren't as good as you are.
Some traitor, perhaps? Benedict Arnold? Send everything you have to my phone.
Done.
I'm going to go see him right now.
No, let us deal with it. You don't just barge in on a man like that. We'll need to make a case, do a covert ops.
Fine. Do your investigation, and call me.
Mr. Rector.
Mr. Rector. Well, guess we're going anyway. And we stole her scissors.
Mr. Rector to see you, sir.
Malachi Rector. Dominique said you had something you wanted to speak to me about.
I do. I have a proposition for you.
I'm listening.
I'm
Will you
afraid
marry
it's
me?
very sensitive. I need to speak with you alone.
Court is my employee. I trust him implicitly.
I'm sure you do, but I don't. Sorry, but I can't risk it.
Very well. Court, please excuse us.
Have we met this guy before?
Well, what do you have to say, Mr. Rector?
Nothing, I just
A
want to
custom
look
bar
around for a
complete
bit.
with an HD flat screen. I believe this officially makes this the man cave of the house. The pool table is an exquisitely restored antique. Definitely a billionaire's plaything. Judging by the rest of this room, those are custom-made pool cues.
Custom sticks.
Mr. Rector, I thought you came here to speak with me, not to snoop around.
Yes.
It's a little bit
Sorry.
of both.
Mr. Rec... Mr. Rec...
Yes. Sorry. Douglas Carter, billionaire political backer, a very powerful and clever man. What's his plan? Why does he want to remove Helene if she's the
Very
key to the future success
clever
of
and
Markham and the
beautiful
United
bird.
States? To be blunt, Mr. Carter, I'd like to work for you. I'm done with FITA. They've lost my trust.
Interesting. What makes you think you have a skill I need?
You knew enough about me to have me attacked in Cairo, so you must know I'm the savant. And you appear to be very interested in Mobius technology.
I am indeed. But I'm not clear on exactly what services you can provide, as the savant. Can you explain?
Good at evaluating antiques. Can identify the patterns. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it means to be the savant.
I see. Well, perhaps you should come back to see me when you have something to offer.
Yeah, well,
I'm
antiques?
very, very good at evaluating antiques.
Yes, I've read that. But I'm a modern man. Antiquities don't interest me.
Can identify patterns? At least as well as a 7-year-old?
I can identify the patterns. My knowledge of history is extensive, and I seem to have a certain intuition that's hard to explain.
I'm intrigued. Perhaps you could give me a demonstration.
I can do it right now, in fact. On you.
Be my guest.
Perhaps you can tell me something about yourself.
Oh, no, Mr. Rector. That would be cheating. I want to see what you can do without my help.
I know you were behind the kidnapping of Helene Bernadotte and my security guard, Mr. Walker. I want Walker back.
Why should I care what you want, Mr. Rector?
Because you need my skills.
Do I?
Those men who attacked me in Venice and Cairo, they were yours, weren't they? Who were they?
Does the knife matter or the one who wields it? If you know I hired them, then what difference does it make who they are?
Okay, now we can look at the pictures. Is that Obama?
Photos of Carter with various political leaders. Carter doesn't hold an office, yet he's clearly cultivated many political connections. This has to represent a lifelong passion. Photos of Carter.
I'm not sure who these are supposed to be.
Rank pins from the U.S. Army. These must be Carter's. Carter was a major general in the U.S. Army.
Martha Stewart. She's a politician. Can I look at his window? What's his view like?
Carter's family at his daughter's wedding. This photo is recent, and the younger daughter has no escort and no wedding or engagement ring. She appears to be unattached.
Okay. Unwavering, confident expression, has overused Botox. Proud and intelligent man has something else on his mind. He's proud and intelligent. Strong, easy posture, accustomed to having command of a room, wears a back brace, had good posture drilled into him in his youth. He was in the military, so good posture. Practicing pool in his own game room. Pool is a metaphor. He doesn't like to lose. Wants to have the best man cave, making up for an insufficient childhood. He doesn't like to lose. Oh. Okay, maybe accustomed to having command. There it is. Carter is proud, intelligent, and cunning. He's built an image of power that he completely embodies, and he hates to lose. Sorry. Read that weirdly.
I don't think showing Carter that will convince him of anything.
Look at my manicure scissors.
There's no point talking to him further
hangnails?
until I've figured out who he is.
Won't Googling him be cheating? Oh, I only have 6 of 8 data points. Douglas Wilde Carter's daughter. AP report, June 25th, 2013, Washington, D.C. A match made in political media heaven. Last weekend, billionaire Douglas Carter footed what must have been quite an enormous bill for the wedding of his oldest daughter, Georgia Carter, to young media mogul Matthew Jameson, one of the youngest VPs in the Clear Channel conglomerate. A ceremony at the National Cathedral was followed by a reception brimming with the who's who of DC media and politics at the W Washington Hotel. The W, oh my.
I think I know enough about Carter to do my analysis.
Douglas Wilde Carter. Douglas Wilde Carter, a billionaire venture capitalist and major external factor in American politics in the 1990s and 2000s. Widely said to have bought the presidential races for Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. There is was that supposed to be Hillary Clinton in the picture? Not Martha Stewart. There is speculation that his donations will be a major determining factor in the next presidential race as well. Carter both came from money and came into money, benefiting greatly from the wealthy family and connections of his wife, Lawrence Smith Waldorf. Oh, Waldorf. Any connection to Blair? The couple has 2 daughters, Georgia Carter Jameson and Jacqueline Carter. Okay. Alright. Douglas Carter. Wife's family is very wealthy. Benedict Arnold, 1741 to 1801, infamously traitorous American Revolutionary War general who defected to the British. His second wife, Margaret Shippen, Margaret? Is that supposed to be Margaret? Shippen came from a wealthy and prominent family in Philadelphia. Maybe. George Washington, 1732 to 1799, the first president of the United States, married Martha Dunridge Custis, a wealthy widow, in 1759 at the age of 27. Godwin, Earl of Wessex, 1001 to 1053, a powerful earl. He married Githa, a sister-in-law of King Canute, who raised him to the rank of earl. King Canute. King Canute. Probably Canute. King Canute. Richard Neville, 16th Earl of Warwick, 1428 to 1471, also called the Kingmaker. He helped put Richard III on the throne. His betrothal and marriage to Anne Beauchamp made him heir to the position Earl of Salisbury, as well as part of the inheritance from the Beauchamp, Montague, and Despencer fortunes. Despencer. Kind of feel like it's him. Okay. 2 daughters, older one married to a media mogul, younger one unmarried. Godwin, Earl of Wessex, has 11 children. He's out. Otto von Bismarck, 1815 to 1898, a powerful man in Europe. He unified the German states. He had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Marie, his daughter, married and became a countess. Out. Richard Neville. Neville had 2 daughters. The oldest, Isabel, married Duke George of Clarence. The younger, Anne, first married Prince Edward of Westminster, and after his death was wed to his brother, who later became King Richard III. Maybe. Thomas Wolsey, 1473 to 1530, a highly influential cardinal in the court of King Henry VIII. Though a member of the clergy, he had 2 children, a son, Thomas Winter, and a daughter named Dorothy. His son married and his daughter became a nun. I won't rule him out just yet, but I think that's no. Accustomed to having total command, Benedict Arnold as a trader before the war. Oh, sorry, as a trader before the war. He went from being a trader to a trader. Trader to traitor. He often commanded his own ships. His military career was very distinguished and brought many victories to the Americans before his defection. He was even given command of West Point. George Washington, though he did not campaign to be president, he was unanimously elected to the position and was widely known as an excellent leader both in war and in peace. I feel like it's not him. But Richard Neville, an ambitious and intelligent man. Neville's military and political accomplishments speak for themselves. His withdrawal of support for Edward IV led to a rebellion that for a short time put Henry VI on the throne and forced Edward into exile. Thomas Wolsey as one of, if not the most powerful men in England at the time. He had near total control of policies in England for almost 15 years. Served in the army at the rank of Major General. Benedict Arnold was originally a general in the American Army and in command of West Point. After defecting to the British, he was a brigadier general in their army. Okay. George Washington held several military positions, ultimately becoming the first commander-in-chief of the United States Army. Richard Neville was a knight and commander in the British Army. His successes in battle were part of what gained him such great influence. Okay. Numerous international political connections. Benedict Arnold. He had numerous international contacts from his pre-war business endeavors. Later, his high-ranking connections among the British made his treachery and defection possible, and he was welcomed by King George II. Richard Neville had international connections, particularly in France, where he held the rank of captain. He attempted to secure a marriage between Edward IV to a French noblewoman, though the king went against that. Why? Thomas Wolsey. Through the church, he had considerable foreign connections and influence, including being able to negotiate with the Pope to annul Henry VIII's first marriage. Okay. Said to have put Clinton and Obama in the White House. George Washington, as the first U.S. president, he defined the role and it was designed around him, including establishing the cabinet and assigning trusted colleagues to various positions, several of whom were later elected president. Richard Neville, his support was instrumental in placing Edward IV on the throne and later Henry VI. His role in crowning these monarchs and in the War of the Roses overall earned him the title the Kingmaker. Thomas Wolsey, he helped to negotiate the annulment of Henry VIII's first marriage with the Pope. The wording of that makes it sound like he was married to the Pope, so that Anne Boleyn could become queen, although this later backfired on him. Controls some of the top lobbyist groups. Benedict Arnold. Gosh, there's a lot. Okay. Can I just... Eh? Yay! Sorry. I hope... Okay. Douglas Carter is a match for Richard Neville, 16th Earl of Warwick, often called the Kingmaker, a rich, influential man. He used his military success, wealth, and network of connections to become one of the most important men in Britain in his day, putting 2 kings on the throne of England and marrying his daughter to a future king.
I know who you are.
I'm listening.
You're a kingmaker like Richard Neville, the 16th Earl of Warwick.
Oh.
You married your oldest daughter to a media mogul. That kind of control over the press is critical to a kingmaker in this day and age. But your younger daughter, she must marry a politician. And not just any politician, but the politician. You're not trying to destroy Senator Markham, not the man who could be the greatest president of all. No, you want him in the family, where you can be his puppet master. That's why you wanted to get rid of Livia Drusilla, so that your daughter can take her place.
Forgive me, Mr. Rector, but that's a little frightening.
The best weapons are always frightening. So do you want me in your employ or not?
Name your terms.
I want $5 million a year and Walker released. I want a salary of $5 million a year. I want Captain Walker released unscathed.
A salary of $5 million a year, and the return of Captain Walker.
That's a lot of money. I'd be willing to pay it if you can prove your value to me. Let's consider it a 6-month trial term, shall we? If I like what I see, I'll be more than enthusiastic about continuing our arrangement.
And Walker?
I'm not convinced about Walker. He's too loyal to the rulebook and the flag. He'll be trouble.
I'll keep Walker on a tight leash. That's not your problem.
Don't misinterpret this, Rector, but you're a beautiful man. I believe you can keep Walker on a leash. Very well.
What was that
but
face?
I'm not a fool. I'm going to need proof that you're willing to switch sides. What can you offer that will convince me?
These manicure scissors?
I don't think showing Carter that will convince him of anything. This data key has a file on FITA employees. It's yours if you give me what I asked for.
Yes, this is quite acceptable. We have a deal.
Wouldn't giving him the password be
Captain
kind of
Walker is
useless?
still alive, and I've requested that he be kept that way.
I wouldn't get your men excited if I were you. The
gonna
location in Qatar
lick his
has
hand?
already been sent, and Dexter knows I'm here.
So, no 5 million?
What makes you think I'll let you walk out of here? Do you really think I care that Dexter knows you're here?
You're the kingmaker. You tried to kill Captain Walker because he's presumably my moral compass, or some such nonsense. But the savant you want to control, you want that very much.
If I can't control you, no one else will.
You've read my profile. I have no loyalty. FITA does not control me. They're merely an expedient means to an end at the moment.
I would have been more expedient. I can keep him alive. Now he'll be dead before anyone can get there.
But you already gave your instructions. And that secured phone is your only quick line of communication with them.
Why wouldn't I simply text them again and change my mind?
Go ahead.
What? When did he do that?
Jesus Christ! You're insane!
Till we meet again, Mr. Carter.
Is that really? Do you think he actually swallowed it, or did he just put it in his cheek and then go gulp? Okay, Chapter 7, Finding the Light. We technically only have half an hour left to stream, but I would like to finish the game tonight, so let's see how this goes. I was kind of being a slowpoke with the last chapter.
Hold on, Mr. Rector. Where do you think you're going?
I've got to get to Captain Walker.
No, sir, that's our job.
have a leash
what
to
you
put
need
him
to do
on.
is stay back and out of danger.
What is the master plan, then?
The plan is to complete our operations successfully and rescue our targets. And for you to stay put, sir.
An open firefight is only going to put them in danger.
We know what we're doing. We're trained to deal with hostage situations. You move no closer than right here, and that's an order. I don't need to be rescuing you, too.
Understood.
Military, work for Markham. Lean their priority. Walker expendable?
I don't trust the military. They'll be focused on getting Markham's precious Helene out alive. I can't count on them to give a damn about Walker. I need to find out more about that fortress. That's where they're being held.
Carter has been picked up for questioning. Good luck on the mission and stay out of the way. Qatar
Fuwahat
Fortress.
al-Jahim. I've read about that place. Maybe I can find a way into that tunnel system.
Khalat al-Sakhra al-Dima, the Great Stone Fortress, is an ancient landmark in the country of Qatar. It's built on the coast of the Persian Gulf. The fortress is believed to have been built around 1200 AD under the Abbasid Caliphate. The fortification was historically used as a prison and was called Fawahat el-Jahim, or Hell's Mouth, for its reputation as a place from whence few ever returned. Khalat el-Sakra al-Athima has an extensive tunnel system which stretches for miles. Parts of the tunnels flood during high tide. Many a prisoner is said to have died down there while searching for escape. The fortress is not currently in use. There have been rumors about terrorists using the ancient site, but the Qatar government firmly denies such allegations.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you know about the fortress?
I don't think I should say, sir.
Listen,
Grenades.
I know where we are. We're on the Persian Gulf near the As-Sakra fortress. I'm the one who found the location in the first place. Do you know anything about the inside of the fortress? Or how many people are guarding it?
I couldn't say, sir.
Do you know exactly what we're waiting for? The second coming, perhaps?
I'm not privy to the operation details, sir. I'm just guarding the truck. And
Guarding
keeping
the
an eye
truck.
on you.
And it's so very much appreciated. I've heard this fortress has a tunnel system. Do you know anything about where those tunnels might come out?
I don't know anything about that.
Of course not. Excuse me, I'll just grab one of those grenades.
Hey, get back. You can't have that.
Oh? Pity.
Oh, we have an ad starting in a minute. Book time. Okay. Max Ernest grabbed her arm, snapping her out of her reverie. Beneath them, a long, undulating jellyfish was briefly illuminated, swimming under the ship's hull. The floor was glass. A loud gurgling startled them. The jellyfish? I think somebody just went to the bathroom, Cass whispered, listening with the ball to the sound of a flushing toilet. They waited a moment, tense. There were footsteps, but they faded away. Nobody appeared. Still on tiptoe, they headed for the spiral staircase that led up to the deck. It was a clear, starry night. The anchored boat swayed gently. They scanned the horizon. There was no land in sight, nor a single other ship. Cass turned the ball around in her hand, but it didn't pick up anything beyond the cry of seagulls and the crashing of waves. My backpack floats, and it's waterproof, whispered Cass as she carefully placed the ball inside it. You think we can survive out there until help comes? I have some trail mix. You want me to go in the water? Did you forget I can't swim? Plus, what about dehydration, and hypothermia, and that jellyfish? Okay, so then what, Houdini? Don't you think there's a life raft or something? As quietly as they could, they walked the length of the vessel, looking for a raft. They stopped at the captain's deck where, as if turned by an invisible hand, a steering wheel rotated back and forth in time with the rocking of the ship. Behind them, a light went on. Miss Mauvais was visible in silhouette. Who's out there? Romy? Montana? Cass and Max Ernest inched into the shadows, then stood frozen for what seemed like forever, but was really less than a minute, until the light went out. Exhales. They crept back down the other side of the ship, but didn't see a raft, or even a life preserver. Look, whispered Max Ernest. Cass followed his gaze, and shuddered. Two large hands were grasping the side of the boat, just like in her dream. Could it be? As they watched in fearful fascination, a dripping man pulled himself over the rail and onto the deck. What? Mr. Needleman? Exclaimed Cass. He nodded, smiling mischievously under his wet beard. Guys are really holding up the class. How did you get here? Mr. Needleman put his finger to his lips. Later. Right now I want you to be... No. Right now, I want you to get ready to jump. Are we in big trouble? Asked Max Ernest. Jump! Mr. Needleman commanded, pointing over the side of the ship. Or do you want to wait until somebody sees you? They looked over the edge. The ocean was dark and foreboding, and awfully far down. A few yards from the ship, an empty speedboat rocked back and forth in the water. Now! Mr. Needleman grabbed each of them by the wrist, and, before Max Ernest could explain that he was afraid of heights or that jumping made his nose bleed, or even that he couldn't swim, they jumped off. Plunging feet first into a cold black ocean in the middle of the night isn't like diving into a warm swimming pool in the middle of the day, just in case you thought it was. Max Ernest, of course, hadn't experienced either before. He'd never been underwater. He thought he was dead. Not dying, not drowning. Dead. Why else would he not know which direction was up? For what other reason would he feel so much pressure on his chest and in his ears? In what other state would he be so totally and completely cold? Never mind that he was safe in Mr. Needleman's grip the entire time. I'm alive! He cried when they surfaced. I'm alive! Shh! Said Cass, coughing for air on the other side of Mr. Needleman. Do you want them to hear? The small boat nearly capsized as they climbed aboard. It wasn't made for passengers. Thanks, guys, said Mr. Needleman when they'd all managed to sit up, clothes drenched, teeth chattering, but, as Max Ernest so succinctly put it, alive. We couldn't have located the midnight sun without you. Congratulations. For what? Asked Cass, confused. She just noticed that Mr. Needleman had lost his New Zealand accent. For completing your first Terces mission, of course. As Cass and Max Ernest watched in astonishment, Mr. Needleman reached up to the side of his face and ripped off his beard. Ouch! He exclaimed, wincing. It was Owen. And that's it. That's the end of the chapter. Next chapter is